Hello everyone and welcome to the second episode of the Great Teacher Olkadan. This will cover a fundamental concept in fighting games, the neutral. It is a complex topic to talk about, but also the first thing every player experiences. So what makes neutral so mysterious and intuitive at the same time? That's why Olkadan is here today. Here is a quick summary of this video. First, we will define what exactly is the neutral phase. Then we will review these options in Soul Calibur. I will also introduce to you the neutral guessing triangle with some few examples. Finally, we will end with a short conclusion. If you are a beginner and don't know the notation used in this video, check out the top left corner of your screen. I'm Hayate, a veteran French competitive player and your coach for today. And without further ado, let's start the secrets of neutral breakdown. Neutral is the initial phase of any fighting game. It's also a phase where you will go back a few times until the end of the round. To better understand this, let's take a big picture of the fighting game phases. From the neutral phase, things can go either on your side or your opponent's side with this order: advantage phase, combo phase, and okizeme phase. From then, you might get back to the neutral phase and start the loop again. Neutral is a phase where no player is limited by any frame advantage, status, or ring positioning. In contrast to the advantage phase, where a player can take action before his opponent, in neutral, both players can act at the same time and have access to all of their classic options. This isn't the case, for example, in the okizeme phase, where one player has only access to few options to get up. However, neutral isn't a perfectly equal phase. For example, you can be back to neutral with your opponent having the life lead or more resources, so he might have access to new options. Also, depending on the matchup, one player can have better options at a specific range. Just remember that neutral doesn't mean an equal phase, but it's the first possible. It's simply the phase where everyone can do the most of his character. Your ultimate goal in fighting games is to deplete your opponent's life bar or timeout with more life. To do this, you will need to do damage your opponent while getting less damage. It could be just a matching race, but fighting games give you different layers of actions to better control the path to victory. And that's possible when your main goal in neutral is to try to get to the next phase, the advantage phase, by safely assessing risks and aiming for a reasonable reward, putting you in a favorable position in the next phase. What are the actions to do that? Let's see this in the next part. In fighting games, movement is always the most important tool to consider in neutral, unless you are a zoner archetype, which I won't cover in detail in that video. Movement is generally the safest action that can put you in an advantageous situation. For example, when you get an opening because your opponent miscalculates your movement and whiff trying to hit you, even a simple forward dash can make you claim ground and intimidate your opponent to back up to a more dangerous ring positions. Moving and doing anti-movement attacks are fundamental in the first action to take in the neutral phase of Soul Calibur. By moving, you decrease your opponent's rewards, forcing the use of lesser rewarding anti-movement attacks, like horizontal attacks. Here is a quick list of movement techniques. The 8-way run is the easiest to learn. By just holding a direction, it's better used outside of the range of directed, and a good tool to reposition yourself. It's also the best to react at any whiffed attacks because 8-way run attacks are the fastest and easiest input you can press while moving. The step G, also called step guarding, is best to use inside of the range of a directed. It lets you block frequently slow anti-movement attacks. Its vulnerability is 12 frames to the side, 15 frames if you backstep, but you can guard at any time in case of a forward dash. Finally, the box step is an advanced movement technique and not recommended for beginners. The best version is backstepping and cancelling by a side step. It's more vulnerable, but can neutralize your opponent's options if you evade both his short-range horizontals with a starting backdash and slower verticals with the cancelling sidestep. Talking about attacks in the neutral phase, they need to be fast, safe, with less recovery in case of whiff. We call them poke attacks. They are good to assess less risk while rewarding you with small advantages. We can list different types of them. Anti-movement pokes like fast under AA, while rising A, 3A, and 3-kick horizontals. Interrupters like standard 2A, BB, or countered pokes like 6B, 6K. Finally, low pokes like 2K, 1A, they aren't safe, but opponents risk much more by trying to randomly crouch on them. Let's sum up the basic neutral loop in Soul Calibur. First, never stop moving around to force your opponent to rely on lesser rewarding anti-movement attacks. Second, use your anti-movement pokes to safely condition your opponent to stop moving. Then, start using your more damaging mix-ups. Of course, you can take bigger risks and gamble, crouch under high horizontal, or to crush them with verticals. But remember, it's dangerous and not your main goal in the neutral phase. Fighting games aren't just about putting your knowledge into action. You will be playing against another person that can just anticipate your actions, so you have to guess, even in neutral, since no human can recognize and react accordingly to what's happening on the screen before 26 frames. A common concept used to explain fighting game neutral guessing is called the three-way triangle. It's based on three fundamental strategies that you can take in neutral. These strategies are named attack, wait, and forward mix-ups. The first one, the attack strategy, I prefer calling it the preemptive or control strategy. Your main guess is that your opponent will be at range of your attack in the next 20 frames and can't contest them. Therefore, you take the lead and attack preemptively. Players that like to use this strategy are called preemptive style. They like to take actions to cover the ground. They like to play zoner characters. However, this strategy has a hard counter, the second strategy called waiting. The waiting strategy is why I also call the whiff punish strategy. You're letting your turn by taking an evasive action to the back or side and wait to react to something. It counters the preemptive strategy because any attack might whiff and get punished. Players that like to use this strategy are called passive style. They don't like taking risks and like to play carefully by punishing mistakes. They play characters with good back or side movement and good range to whiff punish. However, this strategy is countered by the last one called forward mix-ups. The last strategy is the forward mix-ups. Your goal is to either move forward to claim ground or start mixing your opponent. In both cases, you're guessing that your opponent will give his turn by waiting, so you will take advantage of this. Players that like to use this strategy are called aggressive style. They like to put pressure, take risks by gambling on your defense. This strategy is countered by the first one we have seen, the preemptive strategy, because preemptive attacks interrupt forward movement and mix-ups. Here is a quick Soul Calibur example with Mitsurugi. As preemptive neutral strategy, you're predicting an aggressive dash or mix-up from your opponent and you want to interrupt it. You will use safe and hard to punish keep away pokes, like A, 2B or 4B, which also push backs. As a waiting neutral strategy, you're predicting an attack from your opponent and you want to whiff punish it. You either backdash or sidestep guard and wait to confirm a whiff punish with Mitsurugi's 6-6B launcher or his fantastic I-14 critical edge. You can also take the opening as an advantage to get in. This can work even better with movement feint, like dashing in and out to bait and provoke a preemptive attack. As a forward mix-up neutral strategy, you're predicting that your opponent will give his turn by moving around. You choose to either use a forward movement attack that prevents moving, like 6-6A, Or you forward dash into throw or use Mitsurugi's 1KB. Characters can have better tools in each neutral strategy. For example, Talim has a lot of forward movement attacks, so it's hard to whiff punish her. In contrast, Kilik has good ranged pokes, which push backs to play the preemptive strategy, but lacks forward movement and mix-ups. Mitsurugi has a good backdash with good range to whiff punish, making him a good character for the waiting strategy. But his tools for the two other strategies are average, unless he activates his soul charge. Not only you have to consider matchups, but also the round situations. Ring positioning, for example, will limit your opponent's ability to rely on the waiting strategy, as he can't backdash anymore, so it will be easier to use preemptive attacks. Life bar and resources situations can give more reason to play either aggressively to come back or passively to whiff punish with a critical edge ready to go. As a conclusion, here is a quick guide to neutral. After identifying your best tools for each neutral strategy, find your best range in each matchup and stay in it. Identify which strategy is more effective depending on the character and the playstyle of your opponent. Adjust and adapt, never stay in one strategy the whole round. Remember that fighting is a dance and all your opponents are different. That's what makes fighting games so fun to learn and play. And that's it for this video about the neutral. This was probably my most important video about fighting games and Soul Calibur. Don't hesitate to watch it multiple times if needed to fully understand the concepts behind it. I hope this video helped you, and if you liked it, please hit the like button. Subscribe to my channel to support my work and share it. If you want to go further, I remind you that I've been chosen by Metafy to be their Soul Calibur coach. I can give you personal advice depending on your level while watching your replays together. Check out metafy.gg/Hayate and book a lesson with the coach. And that's all, see you very soon for an upcoming video about the next character and the speculation for the next season. Until then, take care of yourself and remember what Olkadan says. We all have much to learn.